So the Game Awards were a bit of a hot mess this year. Not because of technical difficulties or particularly cringeworthy speeches, although there were some moments of that in there, but actually because of the incredible disrespect and mistreatment that some of these legendary game devs received at the hands of Geoff Keighly and his ad brigade. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and I want to talk about that today. So welcome back to the channel. Hello everyone, as I mentioned, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman, and if you didn't see my stream from last night, myself as well as two of my good friends and my girlfriend were on stream last night watching the Game Awards live. That was myself, Thistled Bones, aka Jane, Canadian animator guy, and Shadow Calb, aka Dante. And it was a good stream. It was a lot of fun. There was a bunch of cool reveals, a lot of good chat chat and amongst ourselves and everything. It was a lot of fun. It's something that we do every year for a reason. But the conversation that has been at hand today, a little more than 16 hours after the Game Awards stream went up, is not the announcements, the reveals, or anything like that. There is discussion about those things, but the dominant conversation that I have seen is the way that these incredibly talented people, these game devs who've made all of the games that we've enjoyed in this last year of incredible gaming, one of the best years of gaming, period, as many people are calling it, and how, even though this is a show called The Game Awards, and as such you would expect that it is a show that we spend the majority of our time celebrating the games themselves and the people who made them, because the games wouldn't exist without them, instead we had very long soliloquies from random Hollywood celebrities and people presenting awards who have nothing or next to nothing to do with the games industry or games in general, people who were not involved at all with the games that we're supposed to be celebrating this year. And while it's not necessarily their fault that this is the case, when you have people like Anthony Mackie up there making jokes and having the time of his life and putting on a little bit of a fun performance before he presents his award, sure, but doing so in a span of time that is double, triple, quadruple, or more what most of the actual devs were given the opportunity to speak about, it leaves a really bad taste in one's mouth. If you weren't aware, what I'm talking about here is the fact that this year during the Game Awards, there was a hard 30 to 45 second limit on the acceptance speech that any given dev was allowed to provide when they went up to accept an award if their game won whatever category it is that they were up for. And that was extremely severely enforced with musical cues to get off the stage, the teleprompter even saying, please wrap it up, and staff for the Game Awards ushering people off stage in the middle of speaking, regardless of if they were done or not. Now, is this just a reaction to last year when the actor for Kratos had a legendary 8-minute long speech that definitely threw the whole schedule of the stream off? Maybe. But the fact that it wasn't just these devs that were being shuffled off to make room for other devs, it was the fact that endless ads, endless new reveals for new games, and then endless ads for like completely unrelated things brought to you by Old Spice or Mountain Dew or whatever were shoved in between each of these speeches is kind of what's got everyone up in arms. There's also the fact that many of the categories didn't even have the opportunity to have anyone for the nominated games or the successfully winning games come up on stage. Best art direction, best RPG, best strategy sim, best racing, tons of games were not even given the spotlight on the stage. They were just hammered through in short order by Geoff Keighly like they didn't even matter, because clearly they don't. We need to have more space for Geoff to tout Hideo Kojima's brand new game or crack jokes with celebrities or the Muppets or what have you, or have more musical performances. And I want it to be very clear, I'm not opposed to any of those things existing. Part of the spirit of the Game Awards and part of what has, prior to this year, made it very charming for me is the fact that it is clearly Geoff Keighley's baby, right? Like his constant Muppet segments, the fact that he always has Hideo Kojima come up, the fact that he has other people from the gaming industry, like past winners of awards, come up to announce awards, other people who maybe are in Hollywood or whatever, but who are involved in a game or who maybe know something about gaming and have some sort of connection to it. Having them come up, that's fine. Having the musical performances from games, that is really cool. Like, I like to see music from games brought to life live on stage, oftentimes involving the people who made it. That's fine, because that's all part of gaming to me. The issue this year was the balance, and the balance was so off. And I mean, it's not just me saying this. Like, just scrolling through Twitter today, I've seen, I don't even know how many other lowly peons like myself talking about it, let alone much bigger names in gaming. People like, Forbes author Paul Tassi, people like Tycho Brahe, I want to say is the way you pronounce his name. My apologies. One of the creators of Penny Arcade was all over this. Dave Oshry, the owner of New Blood Interactive, who do like Faith and Ultra Kill and Dusk, was blasting them. Like, a lot of notable people who were very upset during and after the Game Awards and calling Geoff and the show out for the way these people were mistreated. I mean, you've got Eiji Aonuma, one of the legends in gaming, the creator, the father of Legend of Zelda, being essentially shoved off stage. You've got Neil Newborn, who is one of the best new voice actors in gaming, who won Best Performance for the way he portrayed Astarion in Baldur's Gate 3, who did not get to finish speaking, shuffled off stage. Sven, the owner of Larian Studios, also for BG3, who won Game of the Year and was up there in full plate mail giving his acceptance speech, was being told to wrap it up as they were eulogizing the passing of their cinematics director, who passed away last month, 2 months ago, before this award could be accepted. Like, there's a certain level of expediency that needs to go into these speeches, obviously. We can't have another Kratos situation, that's obvious. But this was a whole new level, and to have it be so clearly intended to allow for more ads, for more game reveals, for more special time with Geoff Keighly and his favorite guests that they can stand on stage and talk about not a whole lot for like 15 minutes. And listen, I love Hideo Kojima. I'm super excited to see what his new game OD is about. I want to see what that entails, and I'm happy that Geoff gives Kojima a spotlight to show off his stuff after what happened with him and Konami and how he got shafted really bad back in the day. But the contrast between that, where we saw basically nothing, versus all of these other people who put things out now and deserve to be celebrated for what they've done, it ain't great. It ain't great. I'm curious to see what winds up happening with this for next year, if changes are going to quietly be made or if it's only going to get worse. The fact that there's already very public pushback against it makes me feel like there might very well be some form of changes in the future, at least allowing for more time for each award to be discussed by the people who have won it. Hopefully like a couple minutes, maybe, if people choose to take that long, that would be great. Quick addition here after the recording of the initial video, because literally as I was recording, Geoff himself chimed in on Twitter about this issue, saying the following, quote, "By the way, I do agree that the music was played too fast for award winners this year, and I asked our team to relax that rule as the show went on. While no one was actually cut off, it's something to address going forward." End quote. Clearly, Geoff here trying to get out ahead of this growing controversy. A little bit too slow, I think, for everyone's liking and potentially for his own benefit. But I do want to point out, while, yes, people maybe weren't necessarily cut off in the middle of their sentence, there were absolutely people such as Neil Newbin, the voice actor for Astarion, who won Best Performance, who was literally in the middle of speaking as he was shuffled off stage. And haven't had the chance to verify for myself, but I've seen people saying that he muttered something about like how he had to wrap up because he was being shooed off stage, something along those lines. So yeah, you didn't cut anyone off mid-sentence, but I feel like a lot of these people, a lot of these performers, producers, creators who were supposed to be celebrating would have had a bit more to say if you weren't pretty literally forcing them off the stage through sheer social pressure, if nothing else. So calling a little bit of BS on that one, Geoff, but at least now we know that he is very aware and it is on record that something is going to be done about it going forward. So good to see that. But now back to the rest of the video. It's so frustrating to see this in a year that is supposed to be celebrating so many incredible releases, more game releases that could have been Game of the Year than potentially any other year since like the early 2000s. And especially given the fact that we've had so many brutal layoffs, so much downsizing, so many closed studios, oftentimes layoffs and closed studios connected to or who made some of these games that are being celebrated. The fact that Destiny 2 was up for Best Community Award like it always is, despite the fact that their community team got gutted during Bungie's layoffs, is one of the examples that people have been looking to for why this is kind of an issue. And yet not only did that not get discussed at all at the Game Awards, which I feel like it should have been because it's literally directly related to gaming and it's very indicative of an issue in the overall sphere of game development. But then to kind of almost double down on that disrespect towards the people that make these games that we all love, that are so high quality, that have so much passion and time and effort put into them, and then not even letting, not just like the people who made them, but the people at the top who guide these projects, or the people who literally put the performances into the game that make them so much more special than everything else that came out around it. It's such a stab in the gut, and they just keep twisting the knife. So I'm very pissed off about it. I don't normally talk about this type of stuff on the channel. I don't normally go off about stuff like this on like Twitter and things like that, but the Game Awards is like the Super Bowl of gaming now. You know, now that E3 is dead and gone and pretty much all the other gaming showcases are relegated to just, oh, this publisher or this developer is doing their own little showcase, cool. The Game Awards and Summer Game Fest, Geoff Keighley's babies, are the time that all of gaming gets together to discuss our favorite hobby and the most profitable form of entertainment, most successful form of entertainment in the world. And it's obviously something that is incredibly important to me because I have a whole YouTube channel around it that I pour ungodly amounts of time into every single week. And it's important to all of you for the same reason, because you come to the channel, you talk about games, you watch games, you make games, you discuss games. This is our time. And if we can't take the Super Bowl of gaming and use it to give the people who literally make gaming possible the time that they deserve in the spotlight, then what the hell are we doing here? Like, is it already time for some new up-and-coming young upstart to make a competitor to the Game Awards, to have it actually be like the down-to-earth discussion of gaming and celebration of gaming that it should be? Already? Maybe. I don't know. It's a hell of a 10-year anniversary. I believe it's a 10-year anniversary of the Game Awards this year, and it's just really sad to see. Man, I really, really dislike it. Hopefully, something changes for next year's Game Awards. I have always looked forward to this time of year, to celebrating it, to chatting about it, to being on stream and talking with all of y'all and talking with my friends and with Jane. And I'm not going to look forward to it as much next year, which sucks. And it's directly because of this. So we'll see what happens. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, what you feel about all of this. I've already had a lot of discussion with people in the community about how dissatisfied they were with the exact things that we're talking about today, despite there being games and projects that they are excited about. Because there's stuff I'm excited about too, like Mecha Breaker, OD, Big Walk, more stuff that I can possibly remember off the top of my head right now. There's a lot of really cool stuff coming out. A new Mana game. And I want to talk about all those things probably in their own video. But yeah, this is the topic that I wanted to cover today. So much so that I pushed off a Final Fantasy Tactics video that I was working on. So, hey. But yeah, so I think I'm going to wrap this one up here. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. It's just a damn shame. Go celebrate all of the people and all of the teams who've won the very much deserved awards that they won last night. That's where the conversation should be moving forward as people kind of get their anger and frustration and disappointment with Geoff and his show out of the way. For now, though, thank you all so much for watching. I do very much appreciate it. Before we go, though, it is Friday, so do allow me to quickly thank the supporters of the channel, because that's what we do here on Fridays, and without you guys, it would be a lot harder for me to continue to put out YouTube videos and do streams and put as much time into it as I just kind of was discussing. So, from my YouTube members, thank you to Canadian Animator Guy, IR Fine, Schnorble, Tojo Jr., Luxor, Caffeine System, Tenchi, Matthew Berry, King Tony, John Eaton, Captain Planet, Arbitrary Librarian, Light B, Midday Moonlight, Matthew Snyder, Avery Bailey, RJD, Michael Poole, Dre, X13, Mike Ridings, and Richard Regan. And from Patreon, thank you to Caffeine System, 18C, Mike Ridings, Navi, Kejo, Christian Soto, Christian Muller, Yoking Haddock 67, and Riley Thatcher. Y'all are the best. Thank you so much. I endlessly appreciate all of the support and respect that y'all give me in the channel. Thank you. My name has been Tom, otherwise known as Titanium Legman. I hope you all have a good night. Stay safe and healthy out there. And remember, be good to each other. Bye now.